Hello, it is Chris from Merchant Method. I am so excited to be here. I hope that you're having an amazing December. I can't believe it's December 13th and we are halfway through the month. When I think about where we are in the calendar, we've basically got 12 days of December behind us and 12 days ahead before we get to the end of the holiday shopping season. And I knew that at this point in the month, that was going to be an important time for us to address a really important topic. But before we get there, I will say for those not watching live, today is Tuesday, December 13, 2016. Again, I am Chris Guillo, the owner of Merchant Method, and I want to start by saying thank you. Thank you so much for watching these holiday retail trend videos. They have gotten a far greater response than I could have imagined. And what the response and the viewership tells me is that there is such a need for more information for independent retailers and makers, that the information out there is either associated with traditional retailers or online retailers or capital R retail, or is for the brand new business owner, and there isn't enough for retailers and merchants like you, those that are already in the business, those that might have one or more holiday seasons under your belt, that need the level 201 or 301 version of retail. I call it graduate level retail. So what the viewership tells me is that we need that more information, but it also tells me that there are non-retailers, but there are customers like me and you, consumers like me and you, that want to see more business in our local neighborhoods, in our local economies, that want to be educated so that we can make more informed choices, that we know how to support and how to elevate, because the equation has two people, a merchant and a customer. And so the viewers from the customer end of that equation is really showing me that we want to invest more in person-to-person brick and mortar experiences. The last video about holiday retail customer experience had over 525 views, and for me that's amazing, especially when I decided to do it off the cuff. And I want this information to spread so that more retailers can feel even more success, and so that we can scale through the success as fast as we can and as responsibly as we can. And when you like, and when you comment, and when you share, that helps make it happen. And I will keep doing what I'm doing because I know that it's benefiting everyone. So again, thank you, and let's get started. So if you are not familiar with the Merchant Method, and this is your first time interacting with me and with the content, I am an independent retail consultant, and I've got 17 years of experience in the industry, both in a corporate level, at a field or store level. I've worked in product development and manufacturing, and I've also worked for startups and small companies. And the thread that I had seen in all of these roles is that there's a fundamental base of retail that is applicable to all product-based businesses. And that information, what I was doing over and over and over again, was not being shared with independent business owners. So that's what we do. And I knew that I wanted to talk about employee morale. Employee morale, it's so important, and I knew I was going to talk about it. But I had this experience over the weekend that made me realize just how important employee morale is. So I want to share that story with you before we really dig in. If you follow me on Instagram at Merchant Method, you'll see that I posted a photo over the weekend of 2 bags of coffee, micro roasted coffee, and a dark chocolate bar with coffee on top from Calzada Coffee, which is a coffee company that brews beans and is helping redevelop the coffee infrastructure in the Philippines. And it's a great company run by great people. And I met them last holiday at a local creative makers market called King Street Makers Market, held at Plank and Grain. And I bought coffee, and it was such a huge success in my family that I wanted to do it again this year, and do it with a different intention. And the intention being to share culture. My family's from the Philippines, with my family, and then to share a really important morning ritual, which is that first cup of coffee across thousands of miles. So it was much more sentimental a gift than it was last year. But I didn't know how my family ground their coffee beans. And I was sleuthing to find out if they secured themselves coffee grinders, and they hadn't. So I needed to go back out this weekend and buy coffee grinders as a complimentary gift to the main gift. I knew where I was going to go. I needed to buy it in short order, and we often think of holiday shopping as a chore, but we don't always dissect the experience of shopping in a way that, we can stand to do that. So I'll dissect it into 3 phases. So the first phase is the journey to the store. As you're aware, it is traveling to the store, whether by foot or by transit or by car. For me, I traveled by car. I knew where I was going, but I had to maneuver through the parking situation and the lack thereof. I had to maneuver around other drivers that were experiencing their own things and making that journey just a touch more difficult. And by the time that I parked, my gas tank of patience was getting depleted steadily. I had plenty of patience in the gas tank. But actually walking into the store was one of the more trying things for me, because that store had been set up differently and set up for loss prevention and set up for traffic efficiency, so that those running the store had more control. And it definitely was not set up for the customer experience. It was actually difficult for me to get past the door to where I needed to go. And it was not by nature of the number of people, it was by nature of the physical layout and the journey map and the blueprint. That really took a lot of patience. So that's phase 1, entry into the store. I get to where I'm going and I'm shopping, and all of that was fine. It was laid out fine. I was able to serve myself and help myself and select and get what I needed to get. Shopping, done, phase 2. Phase 3 is making the purchase, and I knew that the line would be what the line is. That, luck of the draw, you get what you get. Could be quick, could be slow, could be easy, could be silent, could be loud with lots of grumbling. But I waited in line and waited and waited. And by the time I got to the store associate checking me out, I just had a lot of empathy and a lot of compassion, because I have been on that side of this equation of merchant and customer. And I knew that though he was pleasant enough and professional and efficient, I was not the first customer he saw in that hour. It was not the first hour of his shift, and it was not the first day of the selling season. And thinking through how many more days there are left of the holiday shopping season and all of that stuff I just experienced that gave me a lot of angst, I thought, wow, he sure could use a dose of employee morale. Probably everyone could. And, we know both of these sides, especially if you work in retail, or if you've worked in waiting in the food industry all too well, the experience of the employee and the experience of the customer. For independent retail owners, I've heard a lot going into the holiday season of concerns about this whole dynamic around how do you ensure and do your best work to offer the right product, put it in the right place in your store at the right time, to message it appropriately and price it right so that you can actually entice the customers and drive the revenue that you need so that you can hire employees and pay them a fair and livable wage. Beyond the wage, there is this kind of complex balancing act of how much payroll you can dedicate to the business based on all of that revenue you're driving. How many hours a week can you afford And then on the other end of the equation, as an employee, as an independent adult, how challenging it is to live on a retail wage. That is complex. That's all going in my head. So I head straight home and I start doing research because I am curious, having read all of this amazing, up to the minute relevant retail industry digests and recaps and forecasts. What do amazing analysts and forecasters have to say about employee morale during the holidays? And so I hop online and I'm searching and searching, and I was sorely disappointed because there is not enough information, and we have to change that. We have to change it because still, the number one way that customers get their goods is by going in stores. And in stores means that there is some level of person-to-person interaction, and that person, that's the employee, needs a boost in morale. So there aren't enough resources, but I will share with you what I found, and I'll share with you my, including my thoughts on, based on my time in the industry. And I want you to know, and I know you already know this, but it's good for us to revisit, that there is a very short and direct line between employee morale and customer service, and then between customer satisfaction and customer purchases, and customer purchases and revenue and profit. All of those things are really tightly, directly related. So hopefully that's enough motivation for you to know that employee morale elevates your profit and that you can have a meaningful impact over the next 12 days. So let's start by exploring what morale is. So morale is not pleasantness, just pleasantness for pleasantness, and it's not professionalism for professionalism. It is directly related to the work at hand. So it is employees feeling confident and enthusiastic about the work ahead. And Business Dictionary defines employee morale as the psychological state of a person expressed in self-confidence, enthusiasm, and or loyalty to a cause or organization, specifically to your business. Morale flows from their conviction about their worth in their actions and the hopes for high rewards. And those rewards could be monetary, as in a paycheck or a bonus, but they can also be soft side rewards, like the gratification that you get from helping a customer find that just right gift, or the gratification for knowing that you did good at work today. That is what morale is. It's about helping your employees feel confident and feel inspired and feel empowered for the next 12 days ahead. So what can you do to elevate employee morale? I will share with you what I found. And the resources that I'm digesting are from Tiny Pulse, as in Tiny Pulse, and Silver Edge. And there's not enough. I wish there were more, but I couldn't find more. But these are great resources that you can implement realistically for an independent business with limited resources. So there are three, and I'll review them quickly and then we'll dive in. So number one is understanding your role. Two is tools and training. And three is time. So number one, understanding your role. It's important to understand what role you might have in contributing to the level of stress in your team, and knowing the role that you will have in elevating any stress that your team might feel. We know that humans are not robots, and that a lot of advances in using technology is to mimic a human experience. For us, in a brick and mortar experience with teams, it is about the human experience. It's about humanity on the sales floor, humanity within the business. And we know that there's so much happening right now. It's easy to fall into triage mode. It's easy to fall into block and tackle mode. It's easy to fall in operational mode because it allows you to work through things efficiently. But triaging and efficiency is really different than elevated and elegant customer care. It's really different than an elevated and elegant customer experience. And so we want to really remember how we're responding to things and think through, does that lean triage or does that lean elevated? Communicate clearly and often. Specifically, if your communication is relevant, if it is given at an appropriate time and in an appropriate space. We know that as the holiday season keeps marching forward, there's less time and less privacy. So when you're communicating clearly and often, really also think through when that message is going to be received and where that message is going to be received. And then think through your reaction to the business, and thinking through, is your reaction to what's happening in the business these past 12 days, the entire holiday season to date, and where you need it to go, is it appropriately matched? Sometimes someone can respond in a very overreacting way, in a very emotional way, and when we work so hard and when we put so much of ourselves physically, emotionally, mentally, monetarily into the business, we can get emotionally reactive. Or on the other end of the spectrum, trying really hard to maintain our cool, trying to tell everyone it's okay, trying to approach it very rationally when the team is experiencing and assessing something different. So whether if the response is very, very big or if the response is understated, that can be quite confusing to the team and contribute to stress. The last point under understanding your role in contributing to or alleviating stress is understanding that each person on your team is unique. And we're past the point of general training. We're past the point of an all hands approach to teaching and assessing and training for the holiday season. And what you might be seeing and assessing is that an individual might need a refresher. And so tailor that refresher to that unique individual. It's likely to have a bigger impact than taking a similar approach to every individual on your team. That's your role. Let's move on to tools and training. So have you assessed any level of opportunity for the first 12 days in December? If you've assessed any level of opportunity and you're sitting on that information, I really encourage you to not sit on it and to do something about it, because the potential over the next 12 days is really, really great. And if you don't assess and then address any low-hanging fruit from the 1st to the 12th, you are missing out on an opportunity. So I'm going to share with you a few things that maybe you've assessed. I've certainly assessed it in my day, and hopefully this kind of jogs your memory for the recent past and helps brainstorm some immediate opportunities. So have you assessed that there's a need for your team to better understand in-store promotional sales, in-store promotional opportunities, or even promoting an in-store event? Have you seen that there's an opportunity for an employee to interact with a customer differently? Right now, shoppers are looking for gifts, which is a different response from an employee and a different selling ability than when a customer is buying for themselves. There's just a different set of questions, and we want to help support the gift giver who may not always know the recipient very well. Have you noticed an opportunity for more elegant and informative selling and service? Have you noticed that bagging up or wrapping up a purchase at a cash wrap is awkward because the cash wrap is now busier or there's more physical stuff in that area? Have you noticed that not everyone on the team understands where everything is on the sales floor? You have more inventory, whether it's more choices, more breadth of assortment, or whether it's more inventory depth. And just as important as employees knowing where everything is on the sales floor, them knowing where everything is in overstock. So those are some examples of things that you may have assessed from December 1st through December 12th, and ways that you can address selling tools, selling scripts, and provide resources so that your team can feel more confident going forward. All right, so the third is time, and specifically respecting time. With holiday hours, it means that the store is open longer and your team is therefore with you and in the store more frequently. Whether you've extended an hour in the morning or in the evening, whether you've opened up a day of business from 5 days of business to 6 or 7, people are in the store more, and it means less personal time. And being able to show and help instill in the team a mutual respect for time, that leads to more employee morale. So here are a few examples that will help you think through respectfulness of time on your team. I really love ensuring a smooth transition from the opening shift, or the team that opens in the morning, to the afternoon or the evening shift. And that successful transition can mean a couple of different things. Not only does it mean timeliness, but it also is a transfer of information. What was happening in the morning? What trends was the morning crew seeing? What's selling well? Was there an awesome success in the morning that the afternoon team can really borrow upon? Could the morning team help reset the sales floor so that it feels like the afternoon team is receiving something that's not in total disarray? That's respectfulness of time. And though it's not just about being on the clock and off the clock, it's about respecting how the time is resourced. Shifts and breaks. Starting and ending on time is really important, especially if you are scheduling lunches and breaks with intention to match customer traffic. If you're doing them so someone's day feels more evenly split and they're not waiting 5 hours, 5.5 hours before they can take a meal break. Respecting the break schedule and really helping reaffirm for the team that it is a shared experience can help boost employee morale. And then if on those really specific days you need to make exceptions to duties like opening duties and closing procedures, giving the team exception-based permission to skip things that can be picked up later on. So say, for example, it's a really, really busy Saturday this Saturday, and the doors close at 9, and your employees typically might have an hour to really clean up the store and reset it and properly close it. And on any given day, an hour would be enough, but for this particular Saturday, there's enough work and enough floor recovery and restock that it might take 2 hours. Do you want to provide exception-based shortcuts so that the team isn't working a 9-hour day? So being respectful of time. So, think through and really acknowledge that the next 12 days can be drastically improved based on your assessment of the last 12 days. And if you're able to provide your employees with a boost and a charge to their employee morale, you are helping yourself that much more in delivering excellent customer care and customer satisfaction, driving more customer purchases, and directly impacting your revenue and profit. So here is your homework. I have homework for you. Give yourself 5 minutes, please. Take 5 minutes anywhere that's appropriate, whether it's 5 minutes while you're cooking dinner, or 5 minutes before you go to bed, or during your commute, to think through the last 12 days. Think through, is there an opportunity to fine-tune how you contribute to or alleviate stress, to provide better tools and training, and to help everyone on the team respect each other's time? And just let yourself brainstorm a lot of ideas. And once you've got them all down, without editing yourself, just put them all down, Then think through what is realistic for you to implement right now for your business, where you're at with the team that you have and the resources you have. And once you've figured that out, schedule the time to make it happen. Schedule time to do those one-on-one individual quick meetings, or secure the resources that you might need to secure. And I would say when you do that, make it timely, make it immediate. Don't be laggardly about it, because even though the speed of retail is fast, these next 12 days are going to feel really long. And the longer we take to infuse more morale into our employees, the more and more we miss out on opportunity to drive more revenue. So those are my tips for you. I wish you and your employees continued success. I will see you here next Tuesday at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern for the last trend report for the holiday season. And please join me. I will be sending out more information to my newsletter, more information about this and other topics that you can only get through the newsletter. So visit merchantmethod.com, and on the footer of every page, you can sign up. And there you can tell me, are you a retailer or are you a maker? Thank you so much. Enjoy your day. We're halfway through, and I will see you soon.